Good evening, council members, City of Boulder and Gun Barrel residents, and Boulder and Gun Barrel businesses who are watching. I'm here to comment on the municipalization effort and what appears to me to be an absence of real critical review and an abundance of enthusiasm that results in propaganda instead of cold hard analysis. I start with one example of a set of charts that were presented to you in your February 2013 study session on municipalization. These charts were intended to compare Boulder's electric rates with Xcel's rates under three alternative estimates of the stranded and acquisition costs. This first chart is the best case scenario. These slides compare Xcel's rates, the upper blue line, with Boulder's two low-cost options. Notice the difference between day 1 and year 10 in all of these. Year 10 is the middle point in the graph. The two following slides show the worst case and the so-called middle case for stranded and acquisition costs. Notice especially how the blue line never changes in all three graphs. Here is the worst case scenario, where after day 1, Boulder's rates exceed Xcel's for 10 years. Here is what might be the most likely case, where one low-cost option exceeds Xcel's rates and the other might not. Still notice how Xcel's blue line never changes. How does that work in the model? Here's how I think it works. It appears that the model adds a carbon tax that increases over time, which the Boulder model adapts to, but assumes that Xcel is too dumb to notice or not likely to adapt to the same change in cost structure. In reality, Xcel would also adapt to a carbon tax and change its fuel mix accordingly, and that blue line would also change to reduce the carbon tax. So the comparison in these graphs is suspect and possibly contrived. Did you notice this? Did anyone notice this in all the reviews? Did the outside model reviewers mention something about the carbon tax and it got ignored? There's a concept in biology referred to as Liebig's law of minimum. It more or less boils down to a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If the model and the off-ramp logic are riddled with these weak links, is it really a good foundation for a high-risk endeavor in a highly unstable energy landscape? Too little critical review. Too much time with too little carbon reduction. Too much money. Too little transparency. Too much over-enthusiastic propaganda. In the end, Boulder's efforts will have an insignificant impact on Colorado's carbon footprint. Drop the muni and focus on solar. That is really the best return on investment, and Boulder's only real homegrown fuel source is the sun.